This week I've got a recommendation for any of you history buffs out there, and that's Christopher Hitchens' biography of Thomas Jefferson. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably saying, I've read enough biographies of Thomas Jefferson, I don't really need another one. But I think you might reconsider that. First off, the biography is by Christopher Hitchens, who, in my opinion, was a super smart guy, a very perceptive individual, very interesting. He died a few years ago from cancer, which is a shame. I think we lost something that was really good. Anyway, he wrote this biography, and it was intended to be under 200 pages, and he kept to that limit. So it's kind of a short book. Now, in 200 pages, it's not really a Cliff's Notes version of Thomas Jefferson's life. What it is that he recounts Jefferson's whole life, but what he does is to bring his own unique slant, his own unique take on the events in his life, and quite frankly, they get you thinking. It certainly got me thinking. For example, let me give you an illustration. He discusses the war against the Barbary pirates when Thomas Jefferson was president. And he points out that Thomas Jefferson had been thinking about the Barbary pirates and what they were doing with kidnapping Europeans and holding them as slaves or for ransom. He had been thinking about that for like 20 years since he had been an ambassador in Europe. He decided when he became president that he'd put an end to it, and he sent the Navy over to the Mediterranean to take these guys out. Now, what Christopher Hitchens does is to highlight the fact that Jefferson had a vision of the United States as a global power. And this was actually the very first time, not the last time, but the first time that the United States projected military power someplace around the globe. I had never thought about that. That was a kind of a perspective on Jefferson that I had never had. Now, he brings interesting slants, or like I say, takes, on all the episodes in Jefferson's life, and it makes the book very interesting. In fact, I'd say I kind of wish I had this book open when I read some of the much more detailed biographies of Thomas Jefferson. I think I would have been able to do a more critical reading of those biographies. The one thing that he does, and I suppose he's got to do it, is to discuss the Sally Hemmings affair. He spends 5 or 6 pages on it. Quite frankly, I think it's a waste of time. For my part, I don't really care about whether he had an affair or he didn't. Hitchens concludes that he did. Hitchens didn't really convince me of that, but nonetheless, it's a topic, and I guess he's got to cover it. Anyway, I think if you pick this book up, you get a refresher course, so to speak, in Thomas Jefferson's life, but also you get a really smart guy's insights and takes on the different things that Jefferson wrote, that he thought, that he did. I found it very informative, very worthwhile, and I'm absolutely happy to recommend it to any of you who have an interest in history, particularly American history. That's my report, my recommendation for this week. I'll see you again next week. Take care.